Spurs fans, Thomas Frank has been sacked today, February 11th. And it's been a long time coming. I mean, you could just see Spurs going downhill week after week. I mean, the Man City draw gave them a little bit of a boost, but honestly, even in that game, that first half was abysmal. Spurs released a statement today. The club has taken the decision to make a change in the men's head coach position, and Thomas Frank will leave today. He's only been in the job for 8 months, but throughout the entire time, I mean, it started off really well. They got that win against City at the Etihad, but it just quickly went downhill from there. They have literally, I think, hold on, let me show you guys. Let me show you guys. 1 second. Let's look at the home record. Spurs are 18th. This is unacceptable. For one, the stadium Spurs have, and two, the amount of money they spend. They should not be 18th in their home record in the league. This is what's killing them. How they have only won 2 matches at home, one against Brentford, I think, and the other one I can't even remember. But 7 losses. Yeah, this is unacceptable. There was no hope for Thomas Frank, to be honest. I know in the Champions League, he's made them quite a bit of money because I think Spurs finished in the top 4 or 3 of the Champions League because they went on a crazy run. But outside of that, he had to go. I mean, this last match versus Newcastle was a nail in the coffin. Losing at home again. Newcastle scoring 3 goals, I believe, but one was called out was called offside. There was just never ever going to be a hope for Thomas Frank to stay in the job. It wasn't going to happen. He's a good manager. I still believe he's a good manager, but there are some managers that are literally just, I hate to say it, but they're mid-table managers. That's where they get the best output, they get the best results, they improve the most players, and it sometimes they just can't hack it at the top level. And it just looked like maybe Thomas Frank hit that ceiling for him. I will say this. Spurs, 1 second. Let me see if it'll show you. Spurs have probably the most injuries in the league, I would imagine. Let's see. Yeah, this is unacceptable. What? And I think Odebert got injured this match as well. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and now 12 injuries. And I do feel for Thomas Frank in that regard, like 12 injuries. And let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them at least are nailed on starters, to be honest. And then Christian Romero suspended. That's his fault, but he's been suspended too much. But he's now suspended for 4 games just because I think this is his second red card in the league. Even Richarlison was in good form. So, I mean, I feel for him. He hasn't had the best of luck. And to be honest, neither did Ange Postecoglou last season with the amount of injuries they had. It's just unfortunate for Spurs. I don't know. Maybe they need to change their head doctor or something, their physio, because this amount of injuries is just you can't compete with that amount of injuries. You really can't. I mean, even look at their bench. Wow, that is a woeful bench in terms of the type of money and size of Tottenham Hotspur. But yeah, he really had to go. I wonder who's next. See, there was one name that I was thinking of because he did leave Marseille earlier today or yesterday, and that is definitely Roberto De Zerbi. I know he has his ups and downs when it comes to staying with the club, leaving a club, but De Zerbi's a quality manager, and he does play some exciting football, and he can get your attackers going. We've seen that throughout the years, whether it's with Brighton or Marseille. He can definitely get the attackers going. That's not the question for De Zerbi. It's really just how expansive of football do you want to play? We saw what happened to Ange, always playing expansive football. Did not work out at all. I do not recommend doing that per se, especially in the position that Spurs are in right now where they need points. Because right now, Spurs are currently, what are they? 5 points from relegation. Yeah, that's a very dangerous zone to be coming up on, especially with the amount of injuries they have. But Roberto De Zerbi could be one that they're looking at. I think it makes sense. I think De Zerbi probably got the phone and said, "Hey, we're about to get rid of Thomas Frank. The Spurs job will be open. It looks like the next step up for you. It's not going to be as much pressure because they're at the bottom anyways. You just have to bring them up and save them from relegation. They're a Champions League club. They got a lot of resources. And I think De Zerbi is probably very keen on this. Remember, when De Zerbi was at Brighton, he was a very highly rated manager. There were a lot of talks of him going to United and other clubs as well, Chelsea as well, and he went to Marseille at the end of the day, which was a little bit strange, but he's got Marseille top three. They crashed out of UCL in terrible fashion, but he got them top three in the league right now. They got smacked by PSG. I watched that game, but De Zerbi, he looks like he's probably the most likely. I think mainly because he's also used to English football. He's been here before. He's proven he has a good track record with Brighton, especially in terms of developing players, making them world-class players, and selling them on for a high fee. So I think De Zerbi looks like he could be the one to fill that Spurs role, and very quickly. I think this is not, I think this is by design by De Zerbi to leave Marseille right now. I know they got smacked 5-0. I thought he was going to leave after the Champions League exit, but he stayed on for a few more weeks. But it looks like that would be their next step. But back to Tottenham. I mean, you guys need serious help. It's gonna be a graft. Let me look at Tottenham's next fixtures. Actually, let's look at Tottenham's next fixtures. Let's see. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a tough one for them. These fixtures are all not easy. Now, see, Tottenham play much better away from home than they do at home, obviously. But one thing about Fulham is that they definitely play better at home than they do away. They 100% do it. Fulham's away form, terrible. And then we have Crystal Palace. Let's see what Strand Larson can do. Let's see what Sarr can do. Adam Wharton is back in the mix. And then Liverpool away. Like, these are not easy fixtures. Of course, Arsenal, they got pumped by Arsenal in the past. But these next fixtures are just not easy fixtures. And then the tough part about some of these other fixtures is that Nottingham Forest, I mean, they're fighting relegation. It'll always be a tough match unless you put them away early in the first half. Spurs at home, they need to pick it up. They got to. With their new manager, I would assume they're going to improve at home. I don't know why they've been so terrible at home since moving into this new stadium, but I would imagine that that's going to be the case. Let me look at the next ones. I mean, it just looks like all these matches just look like tough matches for Spurs. Their injury count is just too much, to be honest. But we'll see if they can make it out. But yeah, Thomas Frank is gone. It was about time. Spurs fans, let me know what you think. I think this was the right move to make. I would have made it a lot sooner, to be honest. As soon as the Champions League games finished, then they got top 8. They got the money for all those wins. They got the money for making to the next round. I think I would have cut off Thomas Frank from then. I think they have more opportunities to pick up points, and I would have said, yeah, he's got to go. He as great as job he did in the Champions League and the Premier League, clearly it's too big of a task for him. I think he has to go. It will be interesting to see where Thomas Frank goes next. I actually think he'll go to Crystal Palace. I think when Glasner leaves, I think Thomas Frank will slot into Crystal Palace just like that. I think they have the players that he can improve, he can play with. They have a decent local squad, mid-table, not too many expectations. They play a system that he's familiar with. Of course, he played that system at Brighton. So I think Crystal Palace will be a good team to go to, and we'll see what's next. But Spurs need to get a new coach in and fast. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you did like it, like and subscribe. I was away for a while because, the holidays, work, all that stuff. But I'm back, so we're going to be making more videos. And yeah, that's all I got to say. But yeah, rip Thomas Frank.